You're listening to Soul Food Chats.
Conversations that nourish your soul.
I'm Rahul.
And I'm Natalia.
So grab your favorite drink,
Get cozy,
open your mind,
and let's start chatting.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to Soulful Chats. We're in a different setup today for those who are watching us for the screen. We hope you still enjoy it.
Today we're back for episode 6. Today we're going to be talking about stress and mindset.
Yeah, that day-to-day stress that creeps in so slowly and it becomes like second nature to us.
I feel like these days a lot of people actually are conditioned or taught that things being stressful is the norm, and people think that has to be the case, but I just think that's so false. Like, life doesn't have to be stressful.
Yeah, exactly. Life doesn't have to. It shouldn't be this stressful, and it should feel normal, that the stress is a normal thing. We start to wear it as if is a piece of clothing of ours, like a little accessory. Like we're stressing every single day and we feel this tension. We don't even realize how much we are harming ourselves through this.
That's the thing. I feel like stress is actually the root cause of a lot of physical health problems. What your mind doesn't release, your body stores in other ways, and it affects you way more than you realize. Health is wealth. I always say that. You might not feel it straight away, but in the long run, that stress does build up, and then it can manifest in other ways in your life and in your body. So I think it's really important to check in and just look after yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually can speak for myself, because recently I was so stressed out. I was just stressing out about the external world, anything that I just felt unhappy with certain things were not going my way, and it became an issue in my head. I started overthinking everything and fearing that, oh, what if what if it all goes wrong? Am I a failure? Like all of those very negative narratives. And I was constantly on edge. Because of that, my body was in fight or flight mode. And I didn't realize it at first. I felt all the psychological effects. Like, my hands were trembling, my stomach felt uneasy. I couldn't think straight. All of those things I was feeling, but I didn't realize at first that that's what I was going through. And then literally one night I woke up, I went to the loo, and on my way back from the loo, I almost fainted.
God.
Like my head, I felt so dizzy. I heard like very loud static noise in my head, and I lost balance for a second. And obviously I got stressed out. I was like, what was happening with me? But then I realized it's all that fear and all of that stress I've been putting myself under, that literally now my body is telling me, like, I can't do it anymore. Like, this is causing disease. That stress is causing you disease. It's not that you are actually, you have some health problems in this. I mean, that's personal to me, but stress always causes disease. Worry always causes disease.
Thank you for sharing that. I think living in that survival mode as well for so long, I was also in a place where, like, I was living in survival mode. When I look back now, and I actually just think that's not a healthy way to be. Like, if you're in survival mode, you can't thrive in life, right? And that survival mode, like you said, you get those symptoms, you get that feeling in your stomach. It leads to anxiety, could even lead to panic attacks, anxiety attacks, raised heart rate. All of these things are really not good for your body, right?
In survival mode, you can't really express yourself authentically. You just can't. It's like you're locking the door to that authenticity, to that freedom, that creative freedom. It also feels like you're locking doors to possibilities for yourself. It's like you're in this constant survival, in this fight or flight. You're ready to fight or to run away. That's it. There is no room for expression there is no room for peace. There is no room for creativity, for love, for silence, for that stillness. It's a constant, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. There is just no room for you to be yourself, to freely express yourself and feel at ease and feel fulfilled, just feel happy with who you are and your dreams, your desires, your wants, your achievements, because you're constantly feeling not enough. And the scariest part is that, in our society, we've accepted it as normal. We accepted it as, this is what being an adult feels like. But no, that cannot be the baseline.
Absolutely. Like, why is that the standard? Why is that the norm? Why is feeling like you have to be alert all the time, feeling like you're rushing and running around everywhere all the time, just trying to scramble to do everything? Like, why is that the norm? You are just surviving, you are not thriving. And I think that is so false. I just wanted to say as well that when we have some of these like unhealthy stresses in our life, it also can affect us in other ways. So it can affect your eating patterns. Some people might eat less, some people might eat more than they would normally. That's going to affect your body physically. Also, some people turn to unhealthy vices to try and sort of deal with the stress and cope with the stress, which I think, not judging anybody, but that absolutely shouldn't be the norm either.
Especially, if it ends with abuse, like when you're abusing substances.
Exactly. Because that's where it can lead to.
That's where also another problem begins.
Not 100%.
You're not fixing. At first you think that you are fixing yourself because it gives you immediate, that feeling good, that high, I guess. But in the long run, it doesn't heal you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't fix you. It actually breaks you down even more.
No, 100%. And I feel like as well, when you're in that state, you sometimes as well, when you're interacting with other people, sometimes you're not even like there. Sometimes you're not present. I also feel like sometimes you might be more irritable than normal, or you might also, something small that somebody says might upset you. And maybe that wouldn't normally affect you. But, I like to use this analogy when it comes to stress of like a pot of water or a bucket of water. And that if you keep filling it with more water, eventually it's going to overflow. And even just that tiny little drop could make the whole thing overflow. And I feel like it's so true when it comes to stress, because sometimes somebody has said something really small to me that in hindsight was meaningless, but it upset me for some reason. And I was like, how did that thing upset me? But it's because my bucket was full and I was just like dealing with so much and so much on my plate. And I just couldn't have the capacity for anything more. And I feel like when it gets to that point, that's when you really need to start doing something about it.
That is so interesting what you're saying. I definitely agree with that. That's exactly what I've experienced in my life too. I'm pretty sure we all have in some way, shape, or form at some point in our lives. Especially in this productivity and growth era, we're constantly striving to be best and do more and achieve more and learn more. Great. It makes us ambitious. It makes us hungry to develop ourselves, to achieve things. But it also stresses us out if we put too much pressure on ourselves. And like you said, that bucket, because you've put so much pressure on yourself and so many expectations on yourself, it overflows to the point that it can become empty. And then there is nothing left for you. There is nothing left for you. You have no energy anymore. You have no health anymore. You have no inspiration anymore, because everything is, all the water is out there.
Yeah, it's like your battery is empty. It needs to charge, because you do become drained and you're trying to spread out your energy literally everywhere. Like you can't even give your all to something because you're trying to give your all to everything, but then at what cost?
Yeah. You forget to nourish yourself in that process as well.
That's the thing. I feel like when we look after ourselves and nourish ourselves, that's when we do our best. I know that's what I found personally. And I feel like when you take that pressure off as well, and you start to have fun again, you start to come from a place of love instead of fear in your life with whatever it is you're doing, you actually feel more free to express yourself and do the best that you can in your work. Or, for example, in our field, like in creativity, your creative inspiration just flows. And I feel like you just feel more free and new ideas come. And but that doesn't happen when you're like really stressed out or you have that pressure that you have to do well. You have to make sure that this is the best thing you've ever done. When you come from that place, I feel like it never ends up being that. I think you just have to give love to it and nourish that thing, nourish yourself, and it automatically will happen by itself and become, you know, a really good piece of work. Or it can be in any area of life, to be honest.
Yeah, I think what you said right there is very powerful. And I think it also comes down to actually giving yourself permission to be still, to
Yeah,
be at peace, you know? And when you allow yourself, like you literally give yourself permission, so many things are happening around me. I am feeling the stress, I'm feeling the pressure, but I'm not going to react to it. I'm not going to run anymore. I will allow myself to stay still in the moment, just breathe and be at peace, connect with that love, connect with myself, and just choose that stillness over the fight and flight mode and you know the surviving and the running and the striving and the working hard and the, you know.
absolutely. And I think when you come from that place, that better place, that new place, you stop forcing things as well. And I think that's something that's really big, is just letting things flow. Let yourself flow and let whatever it is you're doing flow. And I think the biggest thing is just letting it go, whatever it is. Let go.
Accepting it for what it is instead of, oh, it has to be this, you know, instead of like clinging on to it so hard. And once it doesn't go the way you expected, then you know it all, you know, all is lost and you have failed. And you know, and through that you even put more pressure on yourself that, oh my God, I failed. But no, just release that expectance, you know, and that it has to be a certain way when it doesn't have to. It just doesn't have to. You don't know all the ways that are best for you. You just don't.
100% agree. And I also feel like whatever you're doing might turn out different to what you initially had planned. But in a lot of cases, A, that's better than what you had planned anyway. And B, sometimes just because it's different, that doesn't mean that you failed. It's just different. And you can observe something from that. You can learn something from that. Just take the lesson and move forward. So don't let
Yeah.
that get you down. Don't let that stress you out. Don't let that, you know, worry you about the outcome of something.
Try and hide our mental health. We try and hide our bad days. We try and hide our emotions.
Because society has conditioned us that, oh, if it's a physical issue, then okay, take a day off. But nobody is conditioning us that actually you need to take time out for your mental health too.
If you feel like it hurts you, if you feel heartbroken by it, if you feel, then feel it, release it. Don't just suppress it.
I think that takes a lot more courage and strength than people realize.